Hello and welcome to the Datalife Solutions video training series. In this session, I want to show you how to set up and use electronic envelopes. Let's begin by launching Datalife Manager. Then select the Electronic Envelopes button on the main menu. Now, electronic envelopes are just like paper envelopes. When my dad would cash his paycheck, he'd give Mom the cash. And Mom would take that cash and she would put it in 5 or 6 different paper envelopes. One for the housing and one for utilities, one for food, maybe one for savings and vacations. We do the same thing for you in your checking account by taking that big checking account balance and breaking it down into smaller electronic envelopes. That way you can see exactly what you've allocated for bills, for utilities, for groceries, and for spending. Now, electronic envelopes comes pre-populated with sample data. Before we go any further, we want to clear out that sample data. So select Help, and then select Reset and Clear. Then OK. All of our sample data has now been erased. OK, step 1. Let's set up your envelopes. Select the Envelopes button, and up pops the Envelopes worksheet. Now, one of the great things about electronic envelopes is that we have created standard accounts. We don't want to burden you by having you create 30 or 50 or 80 different accounts. We've selected what are probably the most common accounts in most of our households. Now let's take a look at housing, for example. We have an envelope items worksheet that allows you to record different elements of the housing account. In our case, we have insurance, mortgage, real estate taxes, recycling, and trash removal that are going to be included in that account. We add up all of these monthly expenses and get a monthly number. Now, if you get paid twice a month like most of us, you'll only want to enter half of that per paycheck. So we've entered $450 in the Income 1 column of our envelope worksheet for housing. You'll go down the list and do the same thing for debt. And you'll do the same thing for your insurance and the same thing for utilities. And at the end, your income and your expenses will need to balance out to zero. If they don't balance out to zero, then your balances column will reflect that. In this case, we have $5 more to spend. Now we've spent too much, so we have to back out $5. The bottom line is you want the balance number to be 0 before you can close the form. Okay, so we've balanced it out and we're ready to proceed. Let's select Close. So the first thing we want to do is we want to take a look at what's in our checking account and set that up as a beginning balance. We're going to go ahead and stick that in Other Income for now. And let's say we have $1,550 in our checking account right now, and we want to start using this program. Enter the $1,550 and select Enter. Now, whenever you have a regular income or other income transaction, it's going to ask you, where do you want to put that money? So we have all of our accounts waiting to take the money. Now, you can enter them in manually if you want to, or you can pre-populate them with what you've set up in your envelope system. In the Income 1 field, you can simply select the I-1 or the Income 1 button, and all of those amounts will appear in your income allocation sheet. Now observe that we have $50 more than we have set up in our budget worksheet. We can go ahead and simply put that $50 in another account. Once our balance is 0, we can publish. The same logic holds true. If we have not allocated all of the money, we'll see $5 more. If we've allocated too much of the money, we'll see $5 less. If we try to publish and it's not 0, it'll tell us. So let's set that back. Now we're ready to publish. Now observe, when you hit the Publish button, the transaction is logged and your electronic envelopes are populated. Now you're ready to spend. So let's say you have a mortgage payment. And you make a mortgage payment of $400. Select Enter. The transaction's recorded and your housing account is reduced by $400. Now let's say you go out to dinner. You know you only have $25 in your entertainment fund, but you happen to spend $30. So you're overspending. What will happen now is when you enter that transaction, you're going to see that you've overspent by $5 in your entertainment fund. The whole goal with the electronic envelope system is to keep you in the green. If you can stay in the green, you won't overspend, and you'll get control of your finances quickly. Now you've got to cover that $5. So let's select Transfer Funds. And we'll transfer $5 out of savings, and we'll put it into entertainment. Your savings has gone down $5. Your entertainment is now back in the green. Again, the whole goal here is to help you get control of your finances. And by showing you what you have to spend, it'll help you to not overspend. Finally, the one other thing I want to point out is the number of transactions. My wife and I find that we can generally run our home on about 30 transactions per month. What does that mean? That means it's very easy to reconcile your bank statement with your ledger. If you take your debit card and you purchase every little purchase at Starbucks, at Burger King, anywhere you go, you're making $5, $6, $8 purchases with your debit card, you're going to have 200 transactions in your bank statement at the end of the month. And that's going to be a chore to reconcile. So what my wife and I do is every payday, we'll go down to the ATM machine and we'll just take out our spending. And you don't have to take it all, but we do. And what will happen is now we take that $100 from the ATM machine. It clears out our spending account right here, but we have $100 in our wallet, and we know that has to last us for 2 weeks. Does it always? Not always, but we're getting better at it. And the more we can keep our electronic envelopes in the green and the number of our transactions to a minimum, the more peace of mind we have when it comes to our finances. Now, when you do reconcile your bank statement, simply select Reconcile for every transaction that appears in your statement, and then select Update. Now, are you going to make transactions that you're going to forget to enter into your electronic envelopes? Yes. And that's okay, because when you get your statement, you'll see them on your statement and not in your ledger. You simply add them in, the date that they were incurred, and the amount, and then select Reconcile. Your goal is to keep your bank account and your ledger balanced in sync. That way you know that all the money that you have allocated is there for you to use. All right, this completes the training session on electronic envelopes. If you have any other questions, then please feel free to email us or submit a question on our contact form. And stay tuned for additional videos on how to use these tools.